Today I'm doing us a little book report. I am reading this book called The Art and Adventure of Beekeeping. It's by Ormond and Harry Aebi, A-E-B-I, and I am really enjoying it, so I thought I'd summarize it a little bit and share it. On the bottom of this book, it says there are 404 pounds of honey from a single hive. It says it's a Guinness Book of World Records, and I believe it. I've been beekeeping for only about 6 months now, and I really enjoy it. That's why I'm reading this book, to see if I can learn a little more about beekeeping. But I've been helping my husband, maybe I should say watching my husband, for about 4 or 5 years now. I've watched his apiary expand from 2 or 3 hives to probably 30 hives now. And I can specifically remember one of his harvests having 242 pounds of honey, and that was in multiple hives, probably in 8 or 10 hives. So getting 404 pounds from one hive, that is interesting. That's impressive, really, and I'm hoping to learn a little bit from this book that may help me get just a smidge closer to that. I'll link this book down below, and also I'll link to one of our own honey harvests so you can see what a backyard honey harvest looks like. This book actually was recommended to us in a YouTube comment, so I thought I'd check it out, learn a little, and also summarize some of this in case it's useful. This book was originally published in 1975, but the stories are much older than that. There are 22 chapters. The first one is called Early Adventures with Bees. And I'm actually going to read a few sentences and see if these few sentences will work as part of our summary. Okay, this is by the author Ormond Aebi. It says, I was born in that part of Oregon largely covered with forests of Douglas fir and white oak. The honeybee could not work on the fir trees or the oaks, but they did get a large amount of nectar, the sweet raw material from which bees make honey from the vast growth of poison oak bushes. I just said poison oak, but then it asked the question, poison oak? Yes, indeed, it is perfectly safe to eat, as bees never get poison oak themselves, nor do they ever carry it to their hives. That is something super interesting to me. I have just now begun to learn what flowers bees get honey and nectar from. Poison oak would not have been one I've thought about. But here's another explanation. They explain the beehive. They say the hive body, the basic area of the queen bee, drones, and worker bees, resembles a covered wooden apple box with an opening in one end. In this box, the worker bees build honeycombs wherein they store nectar and pollen. The queen also lays in part of these combs so that the bees may rear brood. The supers are box-like compartments placed on top of the hive body when bees need additional room to store surplus honey. That, to me, I think was a nice explanation of what a beehive actually is. Sometimes for me, I just look at a beehive and I just see a beehive. But it's kind of neat to think about the brood piece of the puzzle and the super, which holds the honey. So that was a nice visual in my head. They also talk about the honey extractor. They say the honey extractor was invented in Germany in the year 1865. It has been around a while. It says our present-day extractors still use the same principle of centrifugal force. Our present-day extractors still use the same principle of centrifugal force to throw the honey out of the combs after uncapping without heat or pressure of any kind. When empty, the combs may be replaced on the hives for the bees to refill. Bees value this arrangement as much as we do, thus are able to produce a great deal more honey each season. The takeaway I have from that is don't crush the comb, try to save it and let the bees refill it. And I believe it, especially from these guys who got 404 pounds of honey from a single hive. However, the author goes on to say they couldn't afford one of these extractors. Instead, at first, they just crushed the honey with their hands And actually, I remember doing that the first time we had a beehive. It is very inefficient, but I think it, begin the cycle of extracting honey and was totally worth it. I've learned since that bees pre-digest honey, and when eaten, is taken directly into the bloodstream and therefore does give one a rapid pickup in energy. I believe it. I think it is nature's caffeine, if you ask me. Okay, as far as direct takeaways, that is what I have learned from the first chapter of this book. However, there are some really nice personal stories in here, and I really recommend reading them. I think they're really great. I told you earlier that they got honey from poison oak. Well, the author told a story of getting poison oak himself, and they were only able to use home remedies because they didn't have the resources, and it was a long time ago. They did not have access to actual medicine, but the cure for that was a bath with oak bark. He also talked of using honey as trade during the Great Depression, and also of looking for bees during a nighttime walk when he was in the Army in Texas during World War II. This is a lovely book so far. Just in chapter 1, there is tons of lovely personal stories and also lots of beekeeping takeaways that I think even an average person such as me can use in the future. If you have an opinion or suggestion, let me know. And thanks for listening. Bye.